Welcome to part 5 of the LCD tutorial series. There will be not much editing here, so you can kind of see the process of me doing the LCD. I will explain a lot. The idea of this kind of LCD, which you will probably see now, but I don't know the result, but I have some clear idea in my mind. So I kind of wanted to show some things that are useful if you do your LCDs and that give you a general idea of what you can do and maybe not to do. So yeah, for this I have here my shuttle queen, one of the small micro SVs I did. They are downloadable in the once it's built. It's really just a small ship with landing gear, Wi-Fi and some cargo space. So let's assume you have some cockpit, something like this, and we want to place some LCD here. Maybe even we want to do some keyboard, so let's start with the keyboard. It's something fairly simple, and we have space here, so let's put our LCD here. Of course we want to color this correctly. So first off we open it up, and let's start, since we are doing the keyboard, let's start with a line center, which basically moves all our stuff. I type below here, as you can see in the center. If I remove this command, you can see here. If I remove this, to kind of switch to the side, put it in, it will be in the middle. So a fairly easy way to do like keyboards and buttons or these things. Yeah, I tend to use ones with rounded corners, but of course you can use other ones if you want like a really professional and well done keyboard. CrazyZ did a really good job, and I will link his build too in the description. This makes this one button shorter, and yeah, this already looks kind of decent, but let's clean this up a bit. We have these ones here, so that one here, we paste this, and we kind of have the impression that there's button pressing going on. So if you look at this, we already, this kind of thing, I had the light on. So if we look at this, we have some issue here, kind of spacing is a bit off. To fix this, we will use line height command, which is line height equals, and then we have like some value. We have not set size. I'm not sure what the default size was. This is 10. Not even. It might be 7, like the font size here. I don't know. As you can see, I totally know what I'm doing here, but I might have to cut this out later. But yeah, I kind of put the size into to kind of have a fixed size. I could remove this. So for example, if I remove this, this will correspond to the slider here, but I would still have the line height 10. So yeah, kind of why I would tend to do the size fixed. So if I do something here, it does not matter, but for the color, let's do this. So now comes the part which usually comes at the start, but for this part now, which is the alignment. I tend to crank the app to the max, but it does not matter. It usually goes up, so if you kind of use the align center, increase the width and the height to 5, and do like a -2 here, you end up roughly at the space you're starting it. This could be slightly different if you like a large size here. So let's say something like this. I'm always forgetting which. Okay, so this is a part I actually cut out because I spent like 10 minutes probably in total on trying to fix the keyboard, and as you can see, it's on kind of try to move it here, but I moved it here, and after recording set it back a bit. What is actually the issue here is that 45 rotations of LCDs are not equal, meaning if I do something like this to create roughly this angle and do something like this to create this angle, it would end up being something different. The easiest way to do what I wanted to do is something like this, but I had no place to, no wall to put the LCD in this position, but this would look better, I think. There's a bit steeper angle here. As an example, in the JVE building you can see these spotlights. This is kind of done because I make two 45 degrees rotations and they are not the same. So let me check. The LCDs are here, as you can see. One is here at the top, one is here, and one is at the bottom here. So the kind of LCD blocks are placed different and result in different rotations. And this was kind of my problem here, because I usually, if I do, and I would suggest you do the same, try to do shift this to the right here, or shift this to the right, like I tried to do here. Try to find a place where the LCD can go like this, and just do like the 245 degrees, and it's way easier and way faster. Just that you know, I cut this part out here, and I kind of moved the LCD when I was working from here to here at the end too, and this I will cut out too. Kind of clips a bit in this, but you kind of get the idea. But let's assume our keyboard is done for the sake of this tutorial. Turn the light on again. And let's say, let me reset this block. On and off. Let's do this one. Or this one. As the next thing, I want something here in front. And this could be like some display, or maybe you want something on the wall with some tech data. It doesn't matter. Makes or not. I was kind of thinking the LCD is the Lego screen keyboard too, but so for our actual thing, let's do some rough. I mean, it will, I think it will be roughly like one square, but let's say we want some to see where this goes. 5 degrees, change them. And let's go down to no. 1.5. Okay, so let's go forward 2 blocks over 1 block. Yeah. Again, this is just a rough shape. You have to keep in mind, if I do this kind of angled stuff, I only have a few places I can basically have the plane. So if I would want to move the plane like much lower and higher, it is not possible. I can move on this plane or up and down, or at least in the boundaries of my LCD, obviously. But yeah, if I turn this up, you can see I have a lot of space where I could actually place my stuff on the 45 degree plane. So, but let's assume we want to do something roughly a block in terms of shape. I personally tend to copy stuff out. I usually use black carpet because you have no reflection. I turn on my light here. If I do this, kind of have this glare effect there, which I kind of dislike. And I tend to something like this. That's maybe the lower one. a different color so I kind of see where one block ends. And okay, so going to the actual LCD, I will add timestamps here, of course, so you can skip the first part with the keyboard. I usually always start out with line center. It's very easier to set up stuff, at least for me. You can obviously work with the default line left going, and I tend to do a line height of 0 as a start and ranks up. And let's do some testing here. Okay, yep. Where did it go? Ah, okay. Like this for the sake of tutorial. This. Okay, I don't even need my light. As you can see, kind of there. Overall, it helps if you have some rough idea. You can look at my LCD list, some ideas of what you can do. And I would recommend to start out with a bigger shape at first. So let's say a size 200, and let's do something like this. Can do some border at the top, some border at the bottom, and then have some stuff inside this. So as you can see, this is not transparent. If I move this down slightly, you would have to see this kind of difference from black and gray. Don't. So we will add an alpha command which changes the transparency. I tend to look these up every time. The only ones I kind of know on top of my head is the 0 to 99, which is basically goes from 0 to 33% transparency. But yeah, if you want to have like other values, you just have to search this in your browser of your choice, and B is a higher one. But usually you go with something very low. Okay. Your best bet is usually to have a low transparency and layer, for example, full alpha stuff on it. For example, I do like test something like this. It does not clip. If I have the same color bar, I could like do color red, and it should not clip if I have a sufficient enough low alpha value. That's the back layer. So yeah, but otherwise you can run into clipping stuff, so you have to be a bit careful. If I would do this another way around, or try to clip full colors, try to overlay full colors. Yeah. So when I'm looking at the square, we already saw one of the main issues we have, which is this is not centered. Obviously, we see this here, this border here. So my way to center these can actually remove this kind of a double. If I use a color command, it will be alpha FF. So I could remove this the same here as a reference. So for centering stuff, I use either this one or this one. These are always perfectly centered. Let's change the size a bit. Maybe 20. Yeah, okay. Maybe 40. And let's add more here so we can kind of see where this kind of meets the edge here. I think I need one more. Yeah. Okay. Well, since we have the blocks here on the background, this have a relatively close size to the compared to the block size. This would be easy to center by hand. But if you have like a circle shape or yeah, some weird shape where you cannot use the blocks as a help. I do this with the red line, so it's kind of more a size of doing how I usually do things and how it would be useful in this situation, because here I could really just go in and use my position command, which is usually your best bet to do movement from left to right. Line height is down and up, and position, let's start with 3, is a command which changes just the stuff on the same line. So this would just change my square. As you can see, the red stuff, the red lines still perfectly centered. So looking at this, there's still a bit more room on my right side, so go with 5. I think we are getting close, but 7. Okay, 6 might be the magic number here. Can totally maybe let's do a point value. My feeling there's a bit more space here, but it could be totally arbitrary. So let's do 6.2. Can point values here, I would use 0.2. It would mean the same as 0.2. You can see this and this is the same. So, but we want to do this standard perfectly. This, let's change to bluish maybe. So next thing to do. Corner, and I think I will reuse line. Let's change our alpha to, or maybe let's work in another color to white. And let's make this our top border basically. And I'm not sure, did we do, no. It's the smaller one, so there are a few things here you can pick and choose from, they usually fit, so it would be a smaller connection to a bigger connection. Let's throw this in there, and on the side, maybe let's leave it at this. You can see this kind of moves slightly off center now if I yeah, it's so if I want to correct this again, let's say move one here. Yeah, I think I have to change the size slightly. Let's go with 33, 42 maybe. Not sure why that put it in there. And let's move this slightly to my left side. Let's do negative values. This moves to the left. So negative values would move to the left, positive values right. Similar with line height. If I have a positive value, I would move it down. Negative value would move it up. Important to remember that my line height command is active for subsequent lines. So if I use line height 0, this line to this line is line height 0. If I kind of want to line this up, so there is like roughly the space I have here, so line up with this line. So the line at the top look like it is in the middle. Let's do 8 maybe. Do I want some space here? I don't know. Let's move this up. So this is kind of at the top here, and as I said before, I want a bit of line height, so let's try this minus 20. We definitely need way more here. 130, 20, 10, 90. This is okay. Now let's do something like this. You can, of course, move this slightly to the right. Boom. I want to close this gap. adjust this value here. I think 6 might be. Nope. And 5 it is. So yeah, now I have this kind of sticking over, but maybe let's trigger here and make some sci-fi angle corners. Tend to use these triangles with that size 100. This would be too much. 80 positions this to the right, which might need 6. And you can see this kind of floats above because I have the line height minus 90, which was for this line, but it's kind of the same for this line. So yeah, this is the reason this is kind of floating there. So we have to adjust the line height again, which copies this. Maybe line height 0 usually does not work if you have different sizes. 50 much, 40 more, 2, because I saw this sticking out clearly at the top there. So yeah, do it like this and add like a thick border. Where's there? This is this one. Position 60. 160. Yeah, the position will not always be the same, but you buffer it. Kind of why I picked the same value as the line above. I think we have to go 200 and copy line height command again. This a maybe. But yeah, something like this. It's not the prettiest, but that's kind of how you would do some border area. So maybe let's do something quick and easy for the section at the bottom area. This let's check size 20, and let's stick between until this kind of matches up with the square we have, or roughly matches up. We have this was too much. Okay. And let's no 9, yeah, perfectly. I mean, again, this is not matching in terms of style, but I want to show different things, how you can do stuff. So this would be a way faster approach to kind of doing something like I did on the top. It will not look as fancy, but you could, for example, add something like this here. And that will look immediately a bit better. So maybe if I it's the middle here. Did I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. In the middle sections. Kind of looked a bit off center to me. But yeah, you could kind of change things a bit and create something that might look a bit better on first glance here. Maybe let's do something like this, and this would be basically our border. Our test this. Let's copy this and let's paste this in here. It's backward. This. Let's see where we end up. Yeah, definitely way too high. And again, if it's kind of off by this much, I would not adjust the line height. I would just think, okay, let's put this in. Maybe not this much. Let's lower this. And let's lower this more to 3. Yeah. Okay, we definitely worked a bit on a bit too large areas here. 20. Again, you see it does not fit here in terms of size, and I did. But for the sake of the tutorial, it does not really matter. Or maybe it does. Let's put another seat. Maybe this one. And lower. Oh, too much. And this. So yeah. Maybe slightly. Yeah, I mean, it's not correct, but this person can play with the keyboard, and we have this big screen here for no apparent reason at all. So, the next step would be to kind of, usually if I work with 2 colors, I would probably order full blue and light blue. But this here too, I would, since I use a white color here, I could just do color. And now if I do something here, the old color, this color I pick here. Yeah. It's kind of a quick and easy way to make LCDs with 2 colors and have some changeable via the buttons here. So let's do shuttle control, maybe. Control size is too much. So let's get this in here to 15. Let's fix the line height and again, and makes this active. I think 100. And this definitely needs to move to the left. The negative value, maybe even more. Now we could do some fancy stuff like all caps and underlined. So yeah, this would, due to small caps, this gets a bit bigger. You have seen the position command stays the same, but it goes to the left because the position command kind of is calculated from the center point. So if I have, like, for example, I would shorten, you can see the starting point is here. If I would shorten this, you would see it would move to this, because the position overall would move minus 31, which might be this. And if I have the large thing, it would still move minus 31, 39. But it would move like this, so it's always from the starting point. Oh, cannot undo. So let's do this. Okay, perfectly fine. Now for next line, have minus 137. Let's throw a line height behind here, just so you don't have to jump particular steps up and down each line. I think I want to remove the small caps, and I want to remove the underline, which is our /U. So if I type something here, let's maybe something like this in here. As you can see, it's not in caps and it's not underlined, so which is kind of nice. So let's imagine we want some slider contours, something like the symbols we have here, something like this, something like this, to kind of show what status the ship is in, and to have some below each other. Just the spacing, but to be honest, it kind of looks alright to me. Up versus down, and now I want to pull this whole section to the left. I could do this with the position command, like -100, but it's kind of a waste of characters. And there's a character limit of 2000 here, so you have to keep this in mind. It would not matter too much in this case, but the easier way to do, or the correct way in my mind at least, I would say, is doing this with indent, which, as you can see, moves everything. But if I would type here again, you see it would move this too. We still have the alignment center, which is something to consider too. I will probably change this to align left, and I have to change this to 100, 400. I have to think roughly on the background on. I think that's this in earlier parts. If I have centers here, roughly 450 to one side, 450 to another side. So you have roughly 900. This space, there is a bit more space here, basically. And there is infinite space to the top and some border, some small border here. And automatic line breaking. But yeah. So if I do the line left, moves the indent, with the default indent 0, which, yeah, puts this here. Kind of to see. Let's turn this off again and put our. I think we need more. Yeah, so this. And maybe let's add 2 more symbols. What do we have here? Definitely this. Maybe something like this. I think doing some contours is usually best done with. Then this, and want to do maybe this bars. Basically you have like maybe 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, or maybe let's do 7. Yeah, the spacing is a bit too much, and kind of would like add this as a filled bar. You can see way different in size, so there's definitely a question of how we want to do it. Oh no, leave it. So these ones, and I will do other stuff for the last 2 lines to kind of show. I think so. So we have to change. Okay. Now, next thing to do would be to pull this up to the corresponding line. So to do this, we have to negative line height here, 110. Much? Yeah. There. So 80. I think 78. 17. Kind of looks roughly fine to me. So let's take this line height and plug it behind here. As you can see, our 3 sections line up roughly the same. You can see where here, so we have to move this to the right because currently the indent is the same. So to change this, take our indent command, plug it in big 20, 30, something 25. Kind of looks alright, most glance, but now we kind of want to adjust the spacing. Spacing between these squares is way too wide for my taste. So there are several ways to do this. I think M space works too, as I'm taking. Yeah. Yeah, I usually would go with space, which is center space, basically, and kind of more intuitive. M space work. As you can see, I'm kind of lowering spacing here. Maybe something like this. Yeah, for the center space command, we have to kind of close this again if we kind of want to not use it, but I will probably override it. So let's pull our line height up again. We can do more third square. Maybe let's do 3 here, 5 here. This. So these will be basically going on here. Line height here. See where we end up. Ah, okay, kind of versus space command. So let's maybe do 0. And this doesn't need as much. Oh, kind of looks good. And we kind of have to adjust the size of the square, so they're kind of way too small. So let's change the color to white here, and maybe make the symbols. This space is better to see. What is this? Yeah. I think is the last one. This one. Oh, size 10. Okay, so 11, 12, maybe 11. So as you can see, the indent is a bit off. So we have to take this one and maybe we do an extra line here. Or, yeah, okay, I was kind of afraid we get the ghost line, but apparently we are. Let's do. Now we have to really precision work here. As you can see, the size is still off. Kind of here at the border, that's the right side. I have base, so maybe I have to go to 12, or I have to get up to point value at 12. Might look alright, but we have to lower here. So 38. Now they do not fit 100. So maybe I used cost. Who is this? 0.5. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I used. No. I think I use this one, but maybe I use these ones. They might fit better in terms of like proportions. But for our purpose, these ones will be fine. Now looking at this, you can see the spacing here off. I have to move these slightly to the right, so with 0, let's do 1. And as you can see, type 2 here is too much, so 1.1. Kind of looking at this line here. So 1.2, 1.3, 1.3 much, so 2.5 you can even. I'm not sure how far you can go in the point values. Yeah, as you can see, it looks clean enough for me. You have correct spacing. Yeah, I think so. And it's kind of how you do the things. So I wanted to do something different for the sliders here. Of course, we could do the same, but I wanted to show different ways to two faster ways to do this. One would be use C squares. Let's remove the C base command. As you can see, the lines same. But we could do something like this, and then we add, I think, this one, this one. I think. As you can see, it's some slider of sorts. I think due to the white, it's not as crisp and clear, and there's a bit of a problem with this block, but actually not use this if you have like this, or if you just use a way smaller size. So not really. This is kind of one way to do this quite fast, but you need the line left. Another kind of interesting thing, I think, is doing this with these shapes. Something this, something like do these ones longer points. I could even like, I don't know, you could do something like this or this. Yeah, something like this works too, as you can see. It's not as pretty, maybe. Let's do the place a small minus with a bigger one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this looks definitely better with a big line. So yeah, this is kind of another way to do this. You could even like some marker here. Could do this here, and let's remove our color and go like value low here. Mix this in a small size, 7, and increase the line height. Is the line height actually 0 something like this? Yeah, would be like some reading of value. You could use the triangle to mark stuff too. Oh. Like these ones. You kind of could move this the other one above the value. Here. Use size 15. And of course we could move this here instead of kind of using this symbol there. Yeah, okay. So let's assume, looking at this, I would be finished with this half section. I want to adjust this value. I can go back in my LCD. Okay. This one. Actually move my whole section. down a bit. Looks way better now. Okay, now there is some still missing on the white side here. And I usually find an easy way to do this is to layer lower alpha values. So this size 50, and I think an interesting shape is usually to stack this kind of gear wheel and this one. So let's do this. Let's make this here. It needs to be larger, and you can still work with the indent value technically, but it does not matter since I will use the position command. But you have to remember the position command would work from the indent left, so I do not see this currently. I had like 400 indents, so I need a 400 something position, and it moves this to, it's not a negative position, positive, moves this here, yeah, negative position would put it there or hide it. Yeah, let's do 500, increase the size weight at 150 is much, 100, and let's in here to the left and bring it up a bit, line height. Yeah, no. Something like this maybe, and let's layer the other shape on top of it. You can of course use more shapes here, but just for the sake of the tutorial. So let's do 502. I think I have to change this value because center point probably different for these two. One. I think I have to change the size. Okay. A circle shape size 90. This is a bit of fiddling work and trial and error, but this needs to move wide. So let's do 3. Yeah, down a bit. So I'm at this sometimes happens and is very frustrating. So 500. For this reason I usually work outside of the build, because I can just Ctrl Alt, Ctrl C and put it in. I usually do this from time to time. So I have kind of, and look at this. Okay, this looks like this in the build actually, and I have a backup in case it goes wrong. Like it just, this is sufficiently centered for the purpose of the tutorial, but you can see if you create a somewhat interesting shape, we can stack more on top. Let's say the alpha of this kind of gear wheel a bit too low for our taste, so let's add like 22, increase this. Again, I usually play with the values I know on top of my head. Much. Yeah, totally fine. And maybe let's add like one of the sprites there. Again, for the sake of the tutorial. Let's do line height. And we need to have a size 50 maybe, and the best size is the system status one. Okay, we definitely need way lower size. This we might, yeah. Let's move this to the right. Maybe with indent, because I want to add color command here. But as you can see, we have the ghost line issue if we do this. Yeah, kind of why I did the will do the indent and all the stuff on a separate line to not mess up my syntax too much. It's kind of okay after that again. So I could add something like sulusdacor. Nice. Maybe let's push one left, jump over this one, move the 2 zeros. Let's do this one. Show what red is. Probably you can look up all the. Okay, got it. Do in the 500. Okay, this is, yeah, it's a bit pink. You have to play around it. Sadly, it overwrites or combines the colors here. So if you want a very specific color thing to do, you're not on luck. Okay, something like this, and which looks totally fine. So, and for our last trick, not sure. Let's see. Light. Maybe it's behind them. Oh, yeah. It was probably behind this line. I could not see. So let's do color white. Let's rotate this by 90 degrees. I'd like to do it. It looks a bit sci-fi. This one, minus. Yeah, it was directly in the line. And let's move this bush bang to the right. Vision 100. Of course, I have the line left, so let's do 500. 700. Kind of wanted to be here, but apparently does not cooperate. Something like this. Now we have this here, it's barely visible. Let's take our LCD. We get this in here. Turn our light off. And now we are technically done. I have to move blocks here, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I would say easy, but yeah. As you can see, it's a bit of work. It takes some time. As you can see, it's wrong size too, but it does not matter for the sake of the toy. Kind of blocks my view, but you can see how I do certain things, and you can just spawn in my LCD list and kind of avoid things there. Usually you want to keep a relatively clean syntax. You have seen this. I usually have some commands at the start, have one thing at a line that actually shows, and then kind of go back to the forward to the next line. So do not clutter space and can work in the game. There is no outside program to kind of do this. Currently, this is the way LCDs are done. So, thanks for watching and thanks for your time.